Please be seated. On this glorious day, we are here to honor the class of 2011 and to celebrate with them. It's a glorious day because so many people have contributed to their success, and I would like to acknowledge some of them. First, the families. Would the families of the graduates please stand? We know you have contributed majorly to their success, that you've missed them, and with pride, we give them back to you. I would also like to acknowledge the faculty. Now I want to address a few comments to the class. You are the first MSTC class to do a number of things, and let me enumerate them. To experience the revised curriculum and format, including the international trip. To take all of your classes at McCombs and to graduate from McCombs. To have synchronous online participation. To dominate the Texas Venture Labs investment competition. And to send 2 teams to the Global Venture Labs investment competition. Your entrepreneurial successes would not have been possible without the support of Dean Gilligan. Over the past year, in many of your courses, you have learned the importance of context and infrastructure. Not only has Dean Gilligan strongly supported the MSTC program, he has embraced Venture Labs and been an outspoken advocate both of entrepreneurship and technology commercialization. Please join me in thanking Dean Gilligan.
Well, thank you all. My duty today is to introduce our commencement speaker. Before I do that, though, I would like to congratulate the graduates of this year's MSTC class. I do want to reiterate what Gary said, and that is I'm so delighted that the program is in the McCombs School of Business. One of the large initiatives in the McCombs School of Business is to train future leaders to manage innovative and creative processes. Most of the problems our country and our nations face could be solved easily with just a few more decimal points of GDP growth, which, as all of you know, comes from innovation and creativity and the application of new ideas to markets. We're counting on you to do that for us, and you've shown over the past year how your presence in the McCombs School of Business has affected students in our other programs and their sensitivity, appreciation, and knowledge about the management of creative processes. We're really looking forward to the class getting larger in the future. We're really looking forward to you coming back as distinguished alumni and talking to current students in MSTC and throughout the School of Business about what you've learned about managing creativity and innovation in a modern economy. We're really glad you're here. We're very proud of you, and we have high expectations for what you're going to do in the future. So again, congratulations. We're exceptionally fortunate to have an outstanding speaker this afternoon. I'm delighted to introduce Thomas Meredith. Tom is a co-founder and general partner of Meredith Capital, LP, an investment management firm specializing in multi-manager hedge funds. He is also Chief Executive Officer of MFI Capital, the Meredith family's private investment arm. He has served as Acting Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Motorola, and before that he was Managing Director of Dell Ventures after serving in various positions at Dell. Prior to joining Dell, Tom served as a Vice President and Treasurer at Sun Microsystems. He currently serves on the board of directors of Motorola Mobility, Bizarre Voice, and Brightstar. Tom is a member of the board of directors of the Nature Conservancy. In addition, he and his wife, Lynn, have received numerous accolades and awards for their generous support throughout the years. They were awarded the 2010 Austin Community Foundation Philanthropy Award for donors who have shown philanthropic leadership in Central Texas. They were also given the Torch of Liberty Award given by the Anti-Defamation League in 2006 and the Outstanding Philanthropist of the Year given by the Association of Professional Fundraisers in 2004. Tom received his BA in Political Science from St. Francis University, his JD from Duquesne, how do you say that? Duquesne? It doesn't look anything like Duquesne. Duquesne University School of Law in Taxation, and International Law from Georgetown University School of Law. He's also received honorary PhD degrees from both St. Francis and Duquesne. Tom serves on the advisory board of the LBJ School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas. Please join me in welcoming Tom Meredith.
Dean Gilligan just said, have fun, Tom. I know I'm going to have fun for the next few minutes, and I'd like to think you're going to have some fun, too. So, I'm truly privileged to have the opportunity to be here today. And I'd like to start by acknowledging Dean Gilligan, Dr. Caden Head, distinguished faculty, most importantly, the proud parents, grandparents, family, and loved one and friends who are here in witness of the celebration and ceremony that's about to take place. What I would ask is for the family and friends to actually give a round of applause to our class of 2011 graduates. I once heard that feeling gratitude and not expressing it. Oh, it's a simultaneous. Can we not have that?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. It's kind of like an echo. I once heard that feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a gift and not giving it. So with that, in the spirit of actually giving the gift, I'm going to ask the graduates to stand and give their family and loved ones who are here and absent a round of applause for their contribution to your success. Please stand. Several months ago, Dean Gilligan asked if I would speak today. And actually, once I figured out the timing, which was not conflicting with my niece's graduation tomorrow, I leapt at the opportunity with excitement. And then it dawned on me I would actually have to speak. A couple months went by, and a sort of a mild panic began to seep into my mindset, thinking, what am I possibly going to be able to tell this group or speak about that would be meaningful and make a difference in the rest of their lives, your lives? And so a couple more weeks went by, so this is about 2 weeks ago, I realized, geez, I had been to 4 commencement exercises where I was actually the recipient sitting in that seat, figuratively. And I had, at the time, the realization, which was shocking, I couldn't tell you who the hell spoke or what they said. And so that really caused more panic and a lot more trepidation. And then I realized, well, geez, it's kind of a low bar. I have to be able to do better than that. So frankly, I don't care whether any of you remember my name tomorrow, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or more. But what I do hope is that you'll take from my remarks this afternoon one pearl that you will carry with you, especially you, our graduates, for the rest of your lives, in the hope that if you actually act on what I'm about to tell you, it will allow you to live a life that's more meaningful, more rewarding, and more successful. That's kind of a high bar, I must say so myself. So, I'd like to make the next several minutes really count, to make a difference. I set a tall order for myself and you. I am optimistic that we can fulfill my ambition and my responsibility, which is to help you in a way, if you listen generously for the next several minutes. Listen generously. Actually hear what I say, and then act accordingly as you progress through your lives. After 60 years, which is how old I am, of living on this planet, I hope I have at least one pearl, which I think you will agree is a piece of wisdom that's worth acting on. In preparing for this speech, I looked back over my life and I started to ask myself, what pearl is it that I really want to share? So I asked the following questions. What have I learned that is worth sharing with you, our graduating class? What has made a difference in my career and in the quality of my life? What do I wish to someone had told me as I graduated? And the answers to those questions are not what I would have projected when I was sitting in your seat over 30 and 40 years ago. Not at all. So, here's my little secret. You ready? The pearl that I wish to leave you with is quite simple, especially if you act accordingly. I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that the most accurate predictor of a successful life, a life of true meaning, will be the number of friends you collect along the way. So let me repeat. I believe the most accurate predictor of a successful life, a life of meaning, is the number of friends you collect along the way. That, I suspect, is not what you thought I was going to say. But I found it to be true. I've been many times lucky professionally. But first we have to ask ourselves, what is a friend? I didn't say a contact, an Outlook contact, an acquaintance, my friends on Facebook. I know lots of people who have 500 friends or 1,000 friends, and I know some who actually have thousands and thousands of friends on Facebook. But I ask you to look at your own Facebook list and think about who is really a friend. If you have thousands and thousands of friends, that's more about crowdsourcing and networking than friendship. I challenge you to really take a look, and I am willing to bet you whatever you'd like to bet, that you will shrink the number of friends you identify as friends. Real, true, lifelong friends. True friendship is about having serious, intimate, trusted relationships where we can fully be ourselves and our friends can be themselves. Friends are those very special people who teach us something that changes our lives or our outlook on how to go about solving a problem, or how to make things happen, or just to have fun. And they have great impact on our lives. With real friends, we can be authentic, and as a consequence, we're vulnerable. So unless you feel vulnerable with someone, they are probably not really a friend, because they don't know you intimately. They don't understand why or how it is you think. Friends care about you. They care about whether you're up or down or sideways or backwards or forwards. They just care. They'll show up in the middle of the night because you ask them to. They'll answer your phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. They'll come pick you up when you have car trouble, even if you're in Buda in the middle of rush hour. They may be part of your family. Some of your family members here are probably really, truly your friends. Some of your friends may be closer than some of your family. Some of your business colleagues may truly be friends as well. Think about the people in this graduating class. I want you to each look at each other and just think visually who it is that you friended in a meaningful and touched in an intimate way. Trust in an intimate way. are vulnerable in an intimate way. I find that friends usually have a sense of humor or bring out your sense of humor. There's always sort of laughter in the palace with friends. It may be a dry sense of humor, quick-witted, cutting, explicit, but always there. Or it may be the kind of wit that can make a tough situation or a tense situation less tense. We saw a great example of that, at least historically, if you're my age, with the Apollo mission 13. When our astronauts were in space and there was a problem with the breathing apparatuses. They were going to run out of oxygen. And the leader of the team on the ground, basically a fellow named Eugene Kranz, said, look, I want you to bring everything that they have in that spacecraft to this room. Failure is not an option are words that he allegedly said. More importantly, he said the following: I don't care what it can do, or I'm sorry, I don't care what it does, I care what it can do. Friends care about what you can do. They look deep into your potential. In your friends, pay particular attention to whether they're curious. Do they truly listen to you? Do they ask you questions? Based on being 3 times lucky professionally, I would say I've observed that great leaders, truly great leaders, share at least several attributes, one of which is their sense of curiosity. The truly innovative leaders frankly discover the remarkable because they identify choke points, they believe in the unreasonable as being possible. And all progress, after all, is due to the perfectly unreasonable. If you want to be remarkable, you don't hang out with sort of the status quo. You actually hang out with weird. You laugh, but think about it. Think about the founding fathers of the United States and daughters. They declared war without an actual federal military. They had no tax regime. They declared war against the world's foremost military might, and then they had the audacity to declare independence. That was perfectly unreasonable. Friends who are innovative are also curious, professionally and personally. They ask lots and lots of questions. They show real enthusiasm. As a result, they inspire people. They inspire you. They inspire your coworkers if you're working with them in some sort of professional context. Out of all the questions and prodding of interest, they may co-create with you a solution to something that's truly unique, that changes your lives or the world. And they have a wake of talent that they sort of create around them and leave. A crucial quality of good friends is that they don't always agree with you. And this is really important, especially in today's society. Just the opposite. They make you think by asking you powerful and probing questions. Friends urge you to assess your plans, secrets, and options carefully. They want you to get away from shoddy, tribal thinking. In the early days of Dell, which is where I worked for almost 9 years, and I was the chief fund officer, also known as the chief financial officer, some might challenge that, we were creating a business model that was relatively new, and it was working, and it was different. It wasn't just a job to be at Dell, it was a cause. It was a cause because we truly believed we could change the industry. And we had massive amounts of fun doing it. Don't lose sight of the fact that you can have a friend who's a business colleague and have fun. If you're not, if your frustration quotient is higher than your fun quotient, change that relationship, change that job, change that friend. We not only became coworkers at Dell, many of us became friends. Although I left Dell more than a decade ago, I still have many friends, people who aren't acknowledged necessarily on Facebook as friends, but who are my friends, including Michael and his family. I'll bet, if you take a moment and just think about what I'm about to say, that the Navy SEALs who invaded the compound where Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan, we will see books about that down at some point in time. And while I don't know all the details, thankfully, I am willing to wager the following. that those people, both who are on the ground in Pakistan and actually in offices supporting that ground force, they shared a purpose. They shared friendship. They shared something that deep inside was about a cause that was going to change life meaningfully for many, many nations, and certainly for the United States. They shared danger. They shared camaraderie that comes from doing a difficult mission with people you care about. Work can, and it oftentimes is frustrating, but again, it should be fun. It can be challenging, but it should be fun. Sure, there will be days when it's tough, but it's better that you surround yourself by people who you like, who you are friends with, than people who you don't like. There ought to be a course in business schools, in my opinion, so this is my admonition for Dean Gilligan, on how to develop and sustain friendships. Having a large and diverse group of friends and adding to them over the course of your lives, wherever and whenever you can, is a blessing and a gift and an opportunity. Let me share an example of creating a ritual that helped create many friends in my wife's and my lives over the course of time. But when we were first married, we had no money, we had a lot of debt. We decided we were going to continue to go to school so we could have more debt. It's kind of an option. We then decided that, geez, we want to have some fun away from school with some of our schoolmates, and we wanted to have a party, and we wanted it to be our party. So my wife and I agreed we're going to have a Halloween party, but not the typical Halloween party, a costume party. We were going to have a pumpkin carving party for adults. Now, you have 1 hour to compete. There were going to be 6 prizes, 2 categories. Traditional means nothing but the pumpkin, and non-traditional means anything goes. First, second, third place. We have had, over the course of the last 32 years, friends from all over the world show up for this party. And I have to tell you, when we first started, the food was potluck, and the wine wasn't just inexpensive, it was cheap. And literally, we have friends to this day that number somewhere between about 75 and 140 or 50 people that come to this party. And they compete. And they share this memory. And people who are new into our lives, and there's usually 1 or 2 couples or individuals, swear that they've already started thinking about next year because they had no idea how competitive people were. I share that ritual because it's important that you think about the rituals with intention that are around your lives. This graduation is a ritual. The little girl in the back who was applauding, she's experiencing a ritual. It's a value and a memory that you'll laugh about, share, cry about, if you do it with intention. So, is there a better way to go through life than to have a wide range of friends that accompany you on your journey? I don't think so. One of the great joys of my life is that I have a lot of friends. Not thousands, but I have a lot of deep relationships. In fact, arriving today at our house for our niece's graduation is a fellow named and his wife, David and Donna Lindsay. David and Donna met each other through my wife and my relationships with the 2 of them. They have 3 wonderful children. I have 4 children, a 19-year-old to 31-year-old. My 19-year-old last year found out that David and Donna weren't her real uncle and aunt. She was mightily upset. That's friendship. That's family. Not necessarily blood, but it's about family. There are good friends and good business people, and those who enjoy life the most are those who can figure that out, that you can have friends who are business colleagues and are just friends. I suspect many of you came to UT, especially our graduates, for 1 of 2 reasons. Either improve your skill sets so you could make more money, get a job, change jobs, change your lives. I suspect some of you may have come because you wanted time out. Time out for reflection, introspection, because you wanted to better align your values with where you were headed in your jobs. Those are good reasons for having been here and for having now succeeded in your goals. That said, I firmly believe that life in business can be truly gratifying, but only when business success is part of something bigger. part of a life of meaning. So, sharing ups and downs is anything more better than going it alone. There are too many so-called successes that live lives of solitary confinement. Too many people tell themselves that they'll make friends later. They'll have time for family later. Spending time with your children, if you're blessed to have children or choose to have children, is an investment, as much an investment in a life of meaning as worrying about stock options and which company you work for and how much money you make. Don't miss their growing up. And by the way, I have 4 children, as I mentioned, 2 older, 2 a little bit younger, same wife. It's always important to qualify that. And my 2 oldest children watched their parents become successful. My 2 younger children were living that success. I missed a large part of my 2 older children's lives that I truly regret. And that's why I retired from Dell over 10 years ago, because I didn't any longer want to miss what I consider to be of more value and make me more successful as just a mere mortal living here on earth. So, I want to tell you a couple more stories. I can tell you that my dad, while I was growing up, used to talk about the days when there wasn't television. Well, I don't remember when there wasn't television. Of course, when I first saw TV, it was black and white. And it was on 4 skinny legs, about this big. It was no bigger than the compact, first luggable computer screen, about 9 inches diagonally. Of course, the television I knew was way different. But my kids can't relate to that. They can't imagine a world without DVDs, TV, TiVo, 200 channels. They don't watch television anymore. They watch video streams or YouTube. They communicate on Facebook. They instant message. They BlackBerry message. They are messaging. They're multitasking. And I thought they were actually better at multitasking than my generation. Well, here's the news. The science refutes that. They're 50% slower in taking decisions, and they're 50% wrong. That's a problem. We're distracted. We're seduced into social networking, thinking that's about friends. We are not capable physiologically, physically, to multitask the way we think we are. When I was growing up, when you were growing up, when you were in grammar school or kindergarten or in high school, you have dear, precious memories. Memories that are burned into your mind's eye. And they're burned there because you had a lot of human touch, a lot of human interaction. I would ask you, as you go through the rest of your lives, to think about the touch, that intimate relationship, that trust, that vulnerability that comes with trust, that sharing is only going to happen if you focus, truly focus on friendship. Just imagine if we had a Forbes 400 list of those people who have the most number of real, true, fulfilled friends. Wouldn't the world just be grand? That's the kind of relationship that I'm asking you to go through life crafting. Craft that life of meaning. I'll close with a quote by Lord Acton, a famous British historian, who said something to the effect that if you're able to look upon life in the past with satisfaction, you will have lived twice. My prayer for our graduates is that you live life twice. Be good, friends.
Thank you, Tom. We will now confer the degrees. Dean Gilligan.
Yes. Yeah. Graduates, when I call your name, please proceed to the stage and receive your graduation certificate. Alfredo Arvide. Doyle Balton. Travis W. Cavender. Alex Cuchinal McManus. Justin Dickstein. Areli Fontecha. Gopal Gojinani. Dan Greff. Carlos Gutierrez. William Harriman IV. Hussein Hashim. Monia Jovic in absentia. Ben Kettle. Yuri Kim. Scott King. Armando Kerwin. Yoru Lin. Preston Linville. Diana Marie Martinez. Marty McCrae. Travis J. McCutcheon. Serene Mecki. Ryan Miller. Lydia Mata Morales. David Michael Mortellero. Michelle Reese in absentia. Eric Paul Richardson. David Sadania. Andy Schonert. Douglas Taverna. Ben Thurber. JD Valdez. Paul Zukowski. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2011 Master's Degree graduates in Science and Technology Commercialization.
We have some special awards. 15 years ago, when the program began, we established the Kosmetsky Scholar or Kosmetsky Award, going to the members of the class with outstanding academic achievement. This year, there are 5 winners. Let's start with Eric Richardson. Eric went through the program with a 4-point. Alex Cuccinell McManus. Yaru Lin. Congratulations. Ben Thurber. JD Valdez. Our Kosmetsky Scholars. Thank you. We have 2 additional awards. An Outstanding Student Award. This one is selected by the faculty, and it includes outstanding grades, but it also includes more. This would be the student who is actively engaged in class discussion, continues to make many contributions, is a very reliable person in the class, and contributes to everybody's learning. The second one is selected by the students themselves. This is the Outstanding Classmate Award. This year, for the first time in my memory, they both go to Michelle Reese. On this glorious day in Austin, Texas, while we're here celebrating, it's easy to forget that Americans are in harm's way around the world. And Michelle's brother is one of those. Back before she had checked the date for graduation, she had committed to her sister-in-law that she would be there for a family reunion in Tennessee, and that's the reason she's not here with us. And I would suggest that, as you may remember from Jim Blanchard, trust begins with commitment, and she kept that commitment to her sister-in-law, and perhaps that helps to explain why both you and our faculty selected her to receive these awards. Now I'd like to ask David Mortillero to come up. David has an award to give.
Thank you. Our class, the MSTC class, we're very fortunate to have these people to our right as our professors, as well as the leadership of Dr. Cadenhead. They're all experts in their field, and they had the ability and dedication to teach us everything that they know, even though we were under complete stress and information overload the entire year. It's been a fantastic ride, a whirlwind of a year, and I just want to thank you all. So I'm here to present the Outstanding Professor Award for 2011, voted on by our class. This professor, to me, was the most intimidating one of the whole program, and I'll tell you why. They had this concept of cold calling, and what that means is for the first 15 minutes of class, they would randomly call a student, and they expected the student to coherently answer a question, and the question was, what do you remember from last week's class? I mean, that's intimidating enough, but this was an 8 a.m. class, so there was, from the night before, that was very hard to do. So as a graduating member of the 2011 class, I feel it's my duty to share some go-to answers to the 2012 class. So in case you randomly get selected this year, you'll know what to say. So number one, answers, conjoint analysis. Or you can simply say 4 Ps. If you want to increase it one more, you can say 5 Cs. There's also purple ketchup, and there's a good story behind that. This is one of my favorite ones. That's the effectiveness of silence. There's El Taco. And of course, marketing decisions are investing decisions. So without further ado, I'd like to present the 2011 Outstanding Professor Award to Dr. Kate Mackey.
I'm really glad you remembered something. That's good. You know, the reason we do this is to so you retain it, right? And to hear a whole group of people retain that marketing decisions are investment decisions warms the cockles of my heart. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
While I have the stage, I'd like to give one more thing away. Would Amanda Zimmerman please come up here? So Amanda, she's our program coordinator. She was a heavy part in planning most of this. I don't think she knew that this was going to happen. But this is her first year in this program helping us. She was in the trenches with us every weekend, every class session she was sitting there with us. She ensured that the online students had uninterrupted access. She was responsible for following the professors around the room with the little joystick camera that we had a lot of fun with the last class. She coordinated everything behind the scenes so we could focus on the program, and she did such a good job that sometimes we didn't even notice that she was around. So Amanda, our class all pitched in and got you a gift. We want to say thank you for all you've done. It's been a pleasure going through this process with you, and we're very happy to have been your very first MSTC class.
Thank you, everyone. It's been such a pleasure working with you this past year, and I wish you all the best in your continued success. We at MSTC, we want to now share some memories with you and your guests.
Let's see, faculty, you may want to step out so you can see this a little better. Okay, the reception begins out in the courtyard. Graduates, go get your photograph made. And go out this door. We are adjourned. Oh, yeah. We need, not to forget, Regina is joining us. Now we are adjourned.